Kairete, everyone. Today here we are again, me and my little assistant, talking about Slash. Today things are going to be a little harder because we got to talk also about these dysfunctional techniques. So let's not waste more time and let's start talking about his speaking technique. A standard position for a beginner for holding his pick would be something like this. You see, my thumb is in the middle of the pick and my index is inside the pick. Slash uses this position. My thumb is on the top of the pick and my index is almost outside the pick. For two main reasons. The first is picking and is using a little more, let's say, gain, a little more sound using the part of the nail. Is a technique that I started using some years ago and I found out it's quite effective. Another thing is that is making some of a circular movement, something like this while picking. I'll show you on the guitar. Whoops. You see, this is the strings. This is how he's picking. Did you see my first finger? It's pushing inside the pick. Which, I mean, this kind of technique would make sense if you're using a soft pick, because you need to make crescendo with dynamics or fade out with dynamics. But basically, Guns N' Roses dynamics, this is something that I think has never been put together in the same phrase. So, if you want to do that, well, do it. But remember that with a hard pick like this is a Fender hard pick, you're not going to have a huge range of dynamics. Basically, you're going to have the hard picking and a little softer picking. Instead, if you're using softer pick, a medium pick or a soft pick, this is going to be a pretty good technique. You're going to have huge crescendo or fade out when we're talking about dynamics. Now, another thing that I've seen is that sometimes Slash is using this technique with one finger and sometimes is also putting a second finger on the first. I don't really know why he does this kind of thing. Sometimes it seems that he's losing his pick and he got to use another finger in order of keeping it in his hand. But actually there is not a specific reason for putting one finger or two fingers. Just take a look at a video and find out where he's using two fingers and where he's using one finger. Another thing that I've seen is that Slash, like Satriani, is picking in two different areas. Actually, Satriani is picking in three different areas. Slash picks in two because he's make an oblique movement on the strings. I mean, he's picking here and then here, while Satriani does a quarter of circle, so he's picking here, here, and here. Slash actually picks here and here, which, I mean, if you're using a guitar like Les Paul or this kind of guitar where the pickups are parallel, well, that's going to give you some colors. I mean, this is a little fat and closing sound, this is a little higher and open sound. So unless you're using a guitar like a Stratocaster where you have an oblique pickup, so basically this is how it naturally works, well, this is going to be a pretty useful technique if you mind coloring your notes, because again, Guns N' Roses, coloring notes, I don't think neither this kind of things has been put in the same questions in years. Now, let's talk a little about his right hand. Actually, Slash's guitar is oversized for him, so he can put all his hand on the bridge, something like this. He's putting two fingers, these two fingers, on the body and picking, controlling his picking with the rest of his hand. Now, here starts the harder part, because we gotta start talking about his dysfunctional techniques. The first one is how is picking? With his arm, with his shoulder? I don't really know, because what I've seen is that Slash is playing with his arm put straight like this. You see, I can start any force neither from my bicep, neither from my shoulder while I'm holding my guitar like this. What I'm thinking is that Slash is using his forearm. Matter of fact, Slash is not a fast guitar player. Actually, when he gets to run, he uses more, I think, some little sweep picking on some little arpeggios, mainly on the pentatonic, something like this. So this is dysfunctional because you see, you have not a point where you can that you can use to pick. You can pick with your bicep, you can pick with your shoulder. So instead of doing like Slash, which has holds in his technique, and while holding his guitar like this is not because he's showing off, well, also because he's show off, but because he needs a more comfortable position in order of picking. Start creating your technique which is comfortable. Don't do anything like him that started with an uncomfortable position and then every now and then he needs to find out a more comfortable position. Another dysfunctional technique linked also to this kind of position is a problem that he has with his wrist. While playing on the upper octave, his wrist is straight like this. While playing on this octave, he's twisting a lot his wrist, which, I mean, why? That's dysfunctional. You're going to have less agility, less control. Matter of fact, while he's playing like this, you see my wrist is straight again to the forearm. So again, don't create a dysfunctional technique and then try to fix the holes that you have, but basically use a functional technique. So it's strange to say, but if you wanna play like Slash, don't play like Slash. Don't make his same mistakes. I remember Wiseman once said that you can become a better player if you copy the mistakes that your master is doing. So basically, these are two huge mistakes because you're not going to be able to play, I don't say a little faster, but comfortably if you put your arm straight and also if you twist too much your wrist. Again, this is 8 minutes video and I think I've said enough about his picking technique and his right arm. Now, a couple of minutes I want to talk about the key. Which is the key that you need to gain if you want to play Slash? Well, as you know, Slash went 3 times in rehab, I think this is the proper word, due heroin. He was addicted to heroin, and thankfully, on his own, for 3 times, he went inside a rehab. Also, he drank a lot. You see, these are all things that are keeping you outside reality, that he needed to escape from his life. So basically, I'm not saying that you gotta start using drugs or become an alcoholic. Don't do that. Don't ruin your life. This is not the way that you should live. Simply, you gotta keep in mind something that is getting you outside reality, a certain emotion, or alright, if you wanna drink a little before playing, well, 1 beer is never killed anyone, I think, besides Rory Gallagher, but that was not 1 beer. Basically, you need something that is going to keep you outside reality, something that you're escaping with from reality. Keep that in mind when playing, and I think that you're going to sound a little like Slash. It's hard to say, it's hard to keep in word. So basically, keep in mind that that's Slash's key. Now, For Slash, this is pretty much it. I think next time I'm going to hack Van Halen or Steve Ray Vaughan. I still haven't choose which one I'm going to hack. So basically, this is pretty much it. I hope you like this video. I hope this is going to come in handy, and see you in my next video. Bye.